Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I did turn around and say that I would be doing the Homefield to Keighley and a few stations here and there. I then ended up reading about the Wharfdale lines and obviously I've done Ilkley to Arthington via Otley, which you will find in my playlist. I will eventually get around to finishing this series. It's just that I come across so much stuff when I'm researching about the railways that I just decided to bang up a video because I think it'd be interesting for everyone. So today we're going to be looking at the Queensbury line and the Queensbury Tunnel, should I say, and the tunnel is owned by the Department for Transport and maintained on its behalf by National Highways Historical Railways Estate. Controversy has surrounded the future of the tunnel for several years. The Queensbury Tunnel Society, supported by cycling groups, environmental campaigners and 2 local councils, is seeking to reopen it as part of a greenway linking Bradford and Halifax. However, Highways England is progressing plans to abandon the structure due to concerns over its condition. This would result in some sections being infilled. In September 2019, Queensbury Tunnel was named the Victorian Society's list of top 10 most endangered buildings in England and Wales for 2019. So, going back to its construction, Queensbury Tunnel was one of several major engineering feats on the Halifax, Thornton and Keighley Railway, one of the so-called Queensbury lines. Plans for this route were placed before Parliament in 1873, with royal assent being granted on the 5th of August after several months of debate. Benton and Woodywis, that's the right name, a company with a long-standing association for the Great Northern Railway, were the contractors. The southern end of the tunnel was north of Homefield. The route was 3.6 kilometres of railway, number 3 to the northern portal just south of the triangular station of Queensbury. Trains could diverge to either Bradford Exchange or Keighley. The Great Northern Railway appointed John Fraser as engineer, whilst his son Henry acted as resident engineer. Work on the northernmost of the construction shafts got underway in May 1874. It was originally intended that 8 shafts would be sunk. However, their spacing was changed at an early stage, resulting in number 7 shaft not being progressed. The contract required the tunnel to be completed within 2 years, but this proved impossible due to significant water ingress, forcing the abandonment of 2 other shafts, including number 5, which would have been the deepest at 126 metres. In July 1877, Colonel Frederick Beaumont, chairman of the Diamond Rock Boring Company, brought a rock drilling machine to Queensbury, which was used to speed up the driving of headings, which are pilot tunnels, from the bottom of number 4 shaft. This improved the productivity of the miners by 4 or 5-fold and resulted in the breakthrough of a continuous heading from one end of the tunnel to the other on the 2nd of October 1877. Are you following me so far, everyone? Although there was still a need to excavate the tunnel to full size and construct the lining. The structural work on the tunnel was finished in July 1878. The last brick was inserted by the inspector James Albrighton, who had supervised work on the tunnel from the outset. The event was marked by the flying of colours from the headgear of number 4 shaft, following which the Great Northern Railway entertained 300 of the workmen to a dinner. That nice of them. At least 10 men died, unfortunately, during construction of the tunnel. Miners Henry Jones, 39, and John Cough, 40, were killed when the charge exploded as they attempted to withdraw it. Of the others, Richard Sutcliffe was struck by a cage which fell down a shaft. John Swire was run over by wagons. Henry Ingham drowned at the bottom of a shaft. Sutcliffe Hodgson fell down the shaft. Richard Jones was crushed by falling rock. Llewellyn Jones was injured in an explosion and succumbed to tinnitus. Frederick Golding was crushed by a wagon and Captain Pickles was struck on the head by large timber. May they all rest in peace, and thank you for the fantastic work you did on the tunnel that is technically still standing today. Railway number 3 was inspected by Major General C.S. Hutchinson on behalf of the Board of Trade on the 11th of October 1878, stating that I must report that the reason of the incompleteness of the work, the Halifax, Thornton and Keighley Railway and its Wesley Fork cannot be opened for passenger traffic without danger to the public. Goods trains started to use the line almost immediately, but passenger services were not introduced until the 1st of December 1879. In 1882, defects were found in the arch and sidewalls at several locations through the tunnel, caused by poor workmanship and the effects of adjacent mine workings. This resulted in the imposition of single-line working for the first 9 months of 1883 while repairs were carried out. Subsidence and water ingress continued to have an impact during the tunnel's operational period, prompting an extensive programme of patch repairs to the arch in the 1920s and the relining of number 3 shaft in 1934. In April 1906, foreman ganger Sam Hurst was knocked down by a train in the tunnel and lost one of his feet. On the night of the 24th of March 1944, fireman Harry Kilner looked out of the cab as this train approached the tunnel, resulting in him striking his head on the brickwork. He sustained lacerations and concussion. Although passenger revenue declined due to tram and bus competition, freight traffic remained relatively buoyant until the 1940s. However, the high cost of maintenance is part due to the Queensbury tunnel. Made the line the prime candidate for closure as part of post-war economy measures. With passenger services already withdrawn, the section of line from Holmfield to Queensbury West closed on the 28th of May 1956. Track lifting through the tunnel took place in 1953. In July 1969, the early prototype of an Invar wire strain meter was installed in Queensbury Tunnel as part of research by a team of scientists from the University of Cambridge into earth strain. Following the project's conclusion, the facility was retained and expanded. Recording equipment was housed in a hut close to number 4 shaft, and the facility was closed in November 1979. Bit of random information there for you. In 1991, scientists from British Rail's Research Centre carried out experiments into the effectiveness of new waterproof grout, which was injected through the linings at locations close to the northernmost shaft. Queensbury Tunnel is built on a gradient of 1 in 100. Falling to the south. Due to the amount of water entering the tunnel and the infilling of its southern approach cutting, severe flooding has affected it since the 1980s. During periods of heavy rain, the floodwater has reached a depth of approximately 11.5 metres or 38 feet at the south portal, extending into the tunnel by half its length, which I'm sure you'll agree is a lot of water. Withdrawal of its maintenance regime after closure prompted a considerable deterioration in the tunnel's condition. In 2013 and 2014, 2 portal collapses occurred to the south of its midpoint. A number of severe bulges have been recorded, as well as deep longitudinal spalling to the south of number 4 shaft. Without intervention, engineers assert that this section is likely to further collapse in years to come. The Institution of Civil Engineers listed Queensbury Tunnel as a historic engineering work in June 2016, and as already mentioned in this video, it was listed on the Victoria Society's top most endangered buildings in September 2019. So on to its future, not really much clearer I suppose. But Highways England submitted a full planning application for the abandonment of Queensbury Tunnel in May 2019. The Queensbury Tunnel Society sought public objections against the plans on both technical and planning policy grounds, and by the 3rd of March 2020 more than 6,335 objections have been received. Good on you. On the same day, Grant Shapps MP, the Secretary of State for Transport at the time, told the Telegraph and Argus newspaper, Queensbury Tunnel, "I've taken a specific personal interest in it. The plan and official advice was to fill it in, but I've specifically prevented that from happening to work with local leaders and the combined authority to come up with a better solution." He raised the possibility of the tunnel being used either for a cycle route or as part of a local tram light rail network. In November 2019, the West Yorkshire Combined Authority submitted a bid to the government's Transforming Cities Fund, which included a request for £23 million to turn Queensbury Tunnel into a high-quality cycling route linking Calderdale and Bradford, describing the project as a significant opportunity. In June 2020, Transport Secretary Grant Shapps offered Bradford Council £4 million towards the tunnel's repair in return for taking on its ownership. They were told that this was the best final offer and they had 4 days to accept it. Council leader Susan Hinchliffe described the sum as derisory and nowhere near enough to save the tunnel. The council subsequently published a new benefit-cost ratio for the proposed Bradford-Halifax Greenway via Queensbury Tunnel, concluding that it would return £5.60 in social and economic benefits for every £1 invested, representing very high value for money. Again, Mr Shapps was written to and urged for him to stand by the previous statements and allocate a sufficient sum from your £2 billion active travel fund to give Bradford Council the confidence to take on the tunnel's ownership and construct a cycle route through it. So, as you can tell, it's had quite a bit of history. I think it's an absolute travesty that such fantastic feat of engineering is left how it is, especially when we can blow money on a load of rubbish. But anyway, I'm not going to go into a rant. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. I'm not going to say which one it is because, to be quite honest, I ain't got a clue. It's whatever I'll come across. However, if you want me to do a video on anything in particular, please leave it in the comments and I will do my best. There's also a gentleman that requested that I do the Liverpool Overground Railway. I will get round to doing that. I'm just a bit tied up with things around here at the moment. So, you know the drill. Don't like, don't subscribe, don't share, don't click on the notification button, and don't enjoy the videos. Until next time, take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and see you in the next video.